Welcome to it, sports fans. It is a fantastic Thursday in Cape Town, South Africa, and it is episode 6 of From the Bleachers with me, MKT, and we are doing it again. What an awesome day it's been here, and today we are going to talk about some interesting topics, all Premier League today, all football related, and I'm sure it's going to rattle a few cages. We're going to talk about when people say we bought the league. What are they really saying? Has anybody ever won it without buying the league? Have they managed their way there? Or is that a bit of a mythology? And of course, we often hear this narrative from Manchester United fans that all of the new clubs have bought the league. We've heard that narrative before, so we're going to talk about that. Have you bought the league? Or is it just a matter of being the best club? And then I've always wondered, why don't more teams play the 4-4-2 in the English Premier League? What's happened to the 4-4-2 in world football? So we're going to look into that. And then my pet peeve. There's two of them, but I'm going to talk about one of them today. The one is the 6-second rule, which I don't know why they even brought it in because they never applied with the goalkeepers. And then the other is the foul throw. Do we still need the foul throw? Can it stay? Can it go? Can it be innovated? So we're going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, just before we get started, if you do enjoy the From the Bleachers podcast, please make sure to share, and spread the word. All the links are in the description at the bottom. That is for the SoundCloud page, and indeed you can subscribe to the YouTube page. But for now, that is the intro. Let's get straight into it. The narrative of bought the league. We hear this often. Everybody says they bought the league. Chelsea, they bought the league. Man City bought the league. So now what people are inadvertently saying, and generally they support a team in Manchester, in red, is that we did it the right way. Alex Ferguson was a miracle man. You know, one thing that's always happened, whether it's been my friends or people that I've seen around me, is, if a girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend, a scorned woman, never likes the new girlfriend. No matter, especially if she's better looking than her. So if she sees her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, with the better looking girl, she'll always have that comment, yeah, she looks like so-and-so. She looks this. She's unhappy. She looks like she's a nasty person. She might use a slightly stronger word, but you know what. So like a scorned woman will never ever like the new girlfriend. She doesn't like to be replaced. She doesn't like to be replaced. So she'll always try and bring that other girlfriend or the new wife down. Yeah, she's better looking than me, but she's probably not a good mother. You know the type of comments. You know what I'm talking about. Man United fans have created this narrative that Sir Alex Ferguson was this savant genius who just won the Premier League without spending any money, and Chelsea and Man City have changed all the rules, and the only reason Chelsea and Man City have won is money, and Man United did it the right way. And they never outspent anybody. They never ever spent any money. Alex Ferguson, every game, would go into the front row, pick the first 3 guys, and he'd play them in midfield. Whoever was lucky enough to have the tickets closest to the bench, Fergie would just pick 3 guys from the front row, put them in the Man United midfield, and then they'd stroll to a comfortable Premier League victory. That's the narrative. I say to that, I call it the drunk guy at the bar argument. The beauty about the drunk guy at the bar argument, guy just gets loud and says, Fergie's the greatest ever. Hey, drunk guy at the bar, I got something for you. It's called analytics. It's called numbers. Right? Fergie's the greatest thing ever. He did it the right way. Manchester City, Chelsea, they bought the league. They bought the league. They don't deserve it. They're not like us. They bought it. It's oil money. It's natural gas money. That's what they say. So you're going to hear that all the time from Man United fans. So I thought, let's look into that. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. Men lie. Women lie. Numbers, they don't lie. They don't lie. So let's have a look at, in terms of the spending since the Premier League season started. So I'm going to break it down a little bit and put a bit of context into exactly how the sort of hierarchy and hegemony of the Premier League has been formed as the numbers tell it, not as the drunk guy at the bar who loves Man United tells it. As the numbers tell it. Men lie, women lie, numbers, they're as honest as a sober judge, as they say. That's the beauty of numbers. They eliminate the dumb guy at the bar argument, and that is my favorite thing about analytics. You can tell me what you want, but the numbers are cold and they tell a hard truth. So let me start off with this. And it's important to put this in context. So Fergie arrived, of course, late 86, in the middle of the season in 1986. So I'm going to take it from 1987 to 1991-92, that season. And I'll tell you why I'm doing that, is that those are the seasons before the Premier League started. So it was still the old First Division. So Fergie in those years, Man United were comfortably the biggest spenders in the league, followed just by Liverpool. But Man United spent a cool £43.8 million by today's standards. So I've done the inflation, and I've inflated the numbers at about 2.1%, give or take 2.1%. And that works out at about £43.8 million. So Man United, from the period between 87 to 91-92, so those are Fergie's years, before the Premier League started, Man United were comfortably the biggest spenders in the league. Now, why is that important? Because the very first Premier League in 92-93, surprise, surprise, Manchester United were the winners. So remember, they were comfortably the biggest spenders. Like Liverpool are close, but there's a good gap. It's about £5 million gap. And £5 million back then is massive. But then a steel firm worker and owner, factory owner. So he was a steel refinery owner. His name was Jack Walker. Lifetime Blackburn fan. He came along, and by today's standards, we call him a disruptor. So he brought his millions of pounds, and he bought his beloved Blackburn. With that beloved money at his beloved Blackburn, he went and purchased a guy you might know in Premier League history, a guy called Alan Shearer. From 92 to 93, 94, 95, Blackburn were the highest spenders. He was joined by another man called Chris Sutton. So Blackburn, for the 2 years, 92, 93, the highest spenders in the league. In 94, 95, surprise, surprise, the previous 2 seasons, Blackburn were the biggest spenders. Oh, would you believe it? 94, 95, Blackburn go on to win the Premier League, their one and only victory. Alan Shearer goes on to score what I still call the false record, but the record amount of Premier League goals in a season. 92, 93, 94, 95, Blackburn are the highest spenders, spending the steelwork money of lifetime fan. It is a dream story if you haven't seen the documentary. Blackburn fan from real poverty. Jack Walker buys Blackburn, and he takes his beloved Blackburn to the Holy Grail with his money, of which they spent the most in the league, which they won. 92-93, Blackburn highest spenders. 94-95, Blackburn highest spenders. 94-95 champions, Blackburn with Shearer. Bear in mind that the 34 goals he scored there, just a little on the side, 34 in 42 games. So remember back then they had 42 games home and away. Put in context, Luis Suarez got 31 in 53. I'll come back to that. If he could just stop biting people, he would have got 40 in the season, no doubt. Liverpool were flying, him and Danny Sturridge that season, unstoppable. Let's move it slightly forward. So from 95-96, I'm going to go to the next sort of period that's important in the Premier League before the next Jack Walker and the next interruption came in the Man United dominance. Economically anyway. So from 95 to 96 to 2002, 2003, which is 8 seasons. Man United, by today's figures, so at an inflation of about 2.1%, spent £438 million. In that period, they were only outspent by Newcastle. But remember, they were the biggest spenders early on, and they consistently spent and were just below Newcastle in that 8-season period. Newcastle's money was all spent in 2 years. Man United spent 8 seasons building a team, and they spent the second most amount of money. Over double what Chelsea had spent at that stage, over just under double what Liverpool had spent in those 8 seasons. 95-96 to 2003, 2002-2003, in those 8 seasons, surprise, surprise, Manchester United won 6 of 8. Broke the world record a couple of times coming up. I'll mention that as well. Then in 2003, let's call him football's version of Netflix. He came from behind the Iron Curtain, a man by the name of Roman Argyevich Abramovich. Brought the money he made in oil and natural gases in Russia to the shores of England in Britain. 2003, the face of football changed not just in England, but across the world forevermore. I call him football's version of Netflix, the disruptor of all disruptors. Made satellite TV redundant, made DVDs redundant. Roman Abramovich came in and changed the game forevermore. Pandora's box was then open, and the floodgates have never stopped. From 2004 to 2008, 2009, Chelsea spent today's equivalent of £556 million. £556 million. Almost double what Manchester United had spent. Almost double what Manchester United had spent. In 2008, Netflix, and for this analogy, Netflix is Chelsea, was replaced by virtual goggles. Those virtual goggles came in the shape of a team called Manchester City. So football changed in 2003, and we thought it could never change again more than that. And in 2008, Manchester City and the Abu Dhabi group were the virtual goggles, making Netflix redundant. Don't need a laptop anymore. Just give me my goggles and I'm watching Avatar. From 2008 to 2018, so right up until this day, I just want to put it in perspective, Manchester City have dropped £1.6 billion. What do all these numbers mean? Maybe we need to put in a little bit of context. Before Chelsea arrived in the Premier League, so that's 13 seasons where Man United had it all to themselves. Comfortably the biggest spenders in the league. And in that time, Man United won 8 of 13 Premier League titles. Before Roman Abramovich in 2003, Manchester United won 8 of 13 Premier League titles. In the next 13, there's been 26 Premier League seasons counting up to last season, 17-18. Man United have won 5 of 13. That's with Sir Alex Ferguson. So Sir Alex Ferguson, in his last 13 seasons, he won 5 of 13. In his first 13 seasons, He won 8 of 13. If anything, Sir Alex Ferguson has underachieved grossly, because everybody always says Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich have all the advantage. That's why they keep winning the Champions League. Man United had the league to themselves for 13 seasons and won 1 Champions League title. There were times for 5-6 seasons where Man United had the title sewn up by February. There are no excuses why Fergie didn't win at least 4 or 5 Champions League titles. Especially before, I'm talking pre-2003. What we need to do is demystify this dumb guy argument of Fergie was this servant who was coaching on another level from everybody. If anything, Fergie's, in reality, he's a bust. Because the very same Man United fans keep telling me that, of course, Barcelona are going to win the most. Of course, Real Madrid are going to win the most Champions League titles. Of course, Bayern Munich are going to win the most. Their league is a walk. The Premier League was a cakewalk for 13 seasons. Man United had 10 times the spending power of anybody else for 13 seasons until Roman Abramovich came and changed it all. For 13 seasons, Manchester United had it their own way. In life, you get what you pay for. In life, you get what you pay for. You cannot go and ask for a Ferrari and you want to pay a Polo price. They'll laugh you out the door because that is not what you get. You want a Rolls Royce, you want a Bentley, you pay Bentley Rolls Royce price. There are no discounts at those shops. In life, you get what you pay for. So once again, before Roman Abramovich arrived, Manchester United won 8 of 13 Premier League titles, outspending everybody to a factor of about 3 rarely. In the first 13 seasons, 8 of 13 Premier League titles. For those 13 seasons, 0 financial competition. For the next, post-Roman Abramovich, with Man City, they've won 5 of 13. To be clear, money talks. 15 seasons with Man City and Chelsea since they arrived. Man United are 5 of 15. That's 53% of their titles. The 11 seasons with Sheikh Mansour and Roman Abramovich, 8 of 11. They won 8 of 11. Eight, 72% of Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United's titles came when there was no financial competition. So you can miss me with this nonsense of Sir Alex Ferguson as the greatest manager of all time. He had a cakewalk for 13 years and couldn't win the Champions League. The beauty of the dumb guy argument is that numbers are a fantastic equalizer. Numbers are truly the greatest equalizer on earth. Numbers are such a wonderful thing. And money is numbers. And big numbers win you big prizes. Let's move on. Something I've been wondering for about 14 years is what's happened to the 4-4-2? Seriously, what has happened to the 4-4-2? Are managers now not allowed to play it? Have FIFA said it is illegal? Have Britain imposed a non-4-4-2 referendum? What has happened? Have the British public had a secret vote to say 4-4-2 is not allowed? Have the European Union banned 4-4-2 somehow when guys pick up a visa? I don't get it. You know, some things just go together. Some things just go together. Milk and cookies, summer and beaches, girlfriends and headaches. Milk and cookies, summer and beaches, and girlfriend and headaches. Those things are synonymous with one another. York and Cole, Shearer and Sutton, Romario and Bebeto, Ronaldo and Rivaldo. Some things just go together, right? Some things just go together. York and Cole, Shearer and Sutton, Romario, Bebeto, Ronaldo, Rivaldo. Since 2004, when Jose Mourinho arrived at Chelsea, only Leicester and Liverpool in the Premier League have rarely played two up front. One won the title, and the other is a Steven Gerrard slip away from making Daniel Sturridge and Luis Suarez possibly the greatest striker pair that the Premier League's ever seen in a single season. I'll say that again. Daniel Sturridge was nearly part of the greatest striker pair the Premier League has ever seen in a single season. And I include the treble season. I include Sutton and Shearer within that. Luis Suarez got 31 in 33 that season. Daniel Sturridge got an astronomical number. He even stayed fit that year. And he's got glass hamstrings, but that season, Danny Sturridge was unbelievable. They played two up front. Brendan Rodgers was attacking. He said, my team can't defend. And that's probably what lost it for them in the end. So he said, I'm going to play to my strengths. Not put an extra man in midfield. We can't defend anyway. Played a 4-4-2 with a diamond, which you're allowed to do. Why aren't Southampton playing Charlie Austin and Ings up front? I don't want Gabbiadini up there because he's not a genuine striker. He's like a supporting striker, more of a Totti kind of. And I know it's wrong to mention Totti and Gabbiadini in the same sentence, but he's more of a number 10 kind of striker, a Griezmann-style striker. Why can't you just play two up front? I don't understand it. English teams don't have the most technically gifted midfielders, so just pack the midfield in diamond, and now wingbacks are essentially like modern-day wingers. The wingbacks now are so athletic that you don't need to worry about the width because the wingbacks get up and down. Bertrand is fantastic, athletic beast, and so is Cedric. So, and I've heard the argument, you're going to get outnumbered in midfield. What are you talking about? Because you can play the diamond. You can play the diamond. You don't have to play a flat 4-4-2. If you're worried about the numbers in midfield, play 4 in midfield. Remember, you can play... Brazil made it famous, the magic square. You can play the square, you can play the diamond, you can play as sort of a 4-3, 1-2 even if you want. As AC Milan did and dominated the European scene for 5-6 years with Carlo Ancelotti. But play 2 up front because Mark Hughes is going to get fired anyway. And what he's doing now is he's playing to his weakness. He's going, everybody else is doing 4-5-1. And Charlie Austin is apparently Drogba, so I'm going to play 1 up front. Ings is apparently Drogba, I'm going to play 1 up front. It's not shameful to play a diamond with 4-4-2 in the middle. I don't understand why they don't do it, because the lifespan of a manager in the Premier League is 2 years anyway. So the sack is coming anyway. Why not innovate? What is the point of getting your Pro A license if managers are just going to copy what happens? Why is Emre playing Aubameyang, Arsenal's record signing, on the left? It doesn't make sense because at Dortmund he was a deadly striker playing as the point man in a 4-3-3. Why would you buy a guy for a certain reason, his clinical finishing, his ability to hold the ball up and link play, and then you play him on the left? And in fact they play him left mid, not even left wing, left mid. What is the point of all these coaches getting all these accreditations, a Pro A license, coaching for 10 years before you can make it to the Premier League? And when you get your opportunity with the Premier League team, all you do is become a copycat. I've had enough of people telling me some people are good managers because they just copy other people. I mean, you saw Antonio Conte went 3-4-3. All of a sudden, Arsenal were playing 3 at the back. Arsenal had no business playing three at the back. Even Arsene Wenger. And for me, that was the time that I knew the man who had changed the face of English football technically and tactically. Before Mourinho came, he gave us the Invincibles and he copied Antonio Conte. He stopped believing in himself and everybody went three at the back. Mourinho even went three at the back. I've never seen Jose Mourinho play three at the back. And Antonio Conte, with one season of madness, everybody thought 3-4-3. Even if you don't have the personnel, play 3-4-3. They won with it. That's not how it works. And these guys are Pro A licensed coaching. Play 4-4-2. There's no shame in your wingbacks crossing the ball, because when you've got two strikers, it actually turns the cross into a 50-50 ball. It keeps both centre-backs honest. And you're not if anything, you're outnumbering in the middle by playing the diamond, and you're picking two athletic wingbacks. The coach's job is not to mirror the other team. The coach's job is to play the chess moves and make sure that his players are allowed to express their best characteristics. Claudio Ranieri did this. Brendan Rodgers did this. One is a Steven Gerrard slip away from a league title. The other made 5,000-1 history. The average lifespan of a Premier League manager is 2 years, just under 2 years. Why would you go down with defensive copycat tactics? It makes no sense to me. The English players have no technical ability. What they do have is pace, power, and grit, all Brighton. Milner. These types of players who can deliver the ball into the box play two up front. There is no shame. Ancelotti did it. Luis Felipe Scolari did it. And look at the success they had. Milk and cookies, summer and beaches, girlfriends and headaches. Some things just are better in twos and belong together. York and Cole, Shearer and Sutton, Romario and Bebeto, Ronaldo and Rivaldo. Stop copying and start coaching. The guys who are a success are great coaches. And that's what the guys who just go around the league and never keep a job, why they never get to keep a job. They're interested in being big-time managers. All they do is copy and paste. And they forget how to coach. The 4-5-1 is not for everybody. Because if you don't have Drogba, if you don't have Diego Costa, if you don't have Aguero, if you don't have Suarez, the guy is not good enough. The toughest thing in football is putting the ball in the back of the net. To ask a guy to be Drogba, Suarez, Aguero is too much. Those are generational figures, and managers need to start earning their buck. Your lifespan is under 2 years. Give it a go. Give it a go. 4-4-2, where have you gone? Like coffee and cream, some things are just better in twos. Let me take it to this one. You know, when I was younger and I would have friends over, I'm sure people can identify with this. You know, during the week, your parents generally make you go to bed at a certain time, you know, it's school, and you listen and you go. But the great thing about having friends over is that you've got the video games out now. You've basically taken over the lounge. Everyone's sleeping on the floor on a mattress, sleeper bed. You've got 3 mates over. But the best part is your mom says go to bed and you kind of brush her off, and then she goes to bed and she kind of ignores you, because most parents are just too shy to seem like horrible people in front of other kids, right? Like, that's a great thing about being a kid. If you are a kid and you're listening to this, that is the way you really get away with absolute murder with your parents is make sure you have your friends over. Most parents don't like screaming in front of other people's kids. Because people are sensitive. They don't want to look bad. Just because they're parents, it doesn't mean they're not sensitive and aware of what's going on around them. Like bedtime's out the window. If you got seriously, if you can get 3 or 4 mates over, it's going to be video games and madness all weekend. If you're like a 12-year-old, those are the best times in life. Get 3 of your mates over, get them to sleep over all weekend, and you're going to have the time of your life. Try and organize that from just before you go to high school. Because then bedtime's out the window. Bedtime's out the window. Don't worry about it. It's a useless rule. It's a useless rule that your mom has when your friends are over. Like the foul throw. It's a pathetic rule because number one, they don't apply it ever. It is the most pathetic rule to have because why have rules if you're not going to apply them? Rules are meant to make the game simpler. What's happened with the foul throw is we know the rule exists and we as the fans can see that there's foul throws. And I'm sure the linesman can see it, but it's stupid. You're not really getting an advantage by throwing a ball in. I mean, unless you're like hurling it with one hand. So just scrap the rule. This shouldn't be a foul throw because every single game I see 2 foul throws. 2 guys in particular that I think bunked every single throw-in lesson are Victor Moses and Luke Shaw. Look out for it. They are horrendous. Both of them are horrendous. Scrap the rule. Seriously, scrap it. Because it's never applied. Guys throwing with the ball not behind their head, throwing the ball directly down, the back foot lifted. The Premier League's an innovator and is the financial powerhouse of world football. They need to go to FIFA, and here's my suggestion. We play football, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about the throw. Let us just kick it in. Let's say you can put the ball down, kick it in, but the ball can't leave the ground. And if the ball leaves the ground just a little bit, it's a turnover. So then you're not getting an advantage of it basically being a corner. All right, so you can't play a switch pass. If the ball leaves the ground, it's a turnover. If it just even bumps up a little bit, it's a turnover. The ball has to stay on the ground. There we go. Solved. Because now we don't have to be howling at the ref, and there are so many goals that happen from foul throws. And why is a foul throw less than tripping somebody? It's an infringement upon the laws. But it's a dumb rule. Take the rule out. It's 2018. We don't need prohibitive rules. We want the game to be faster and action-packed. Nobody watches for a high-quality throw-in. Not to my knowledge. Victor Moses and Luke Shaw, if you haven't seen what a terrible version of a throw-in is, watch those 2 guys. It's football. Just let them put it down, and if the ball leaves the ground when he kicks it, it's a turnover. But for now, put the ball down, and for goodness sake, let's play. It is embarrassing that professionals still can't perform a basic throw-in. Premier League, FIFA, UEFA, get it together. It's a dumb rule. Scrap it. I hate it. It's the worst. That along with the 6-second rule for the keeper, but I don't want to get into that because that's just a different kettle of mess. It's useless. And as far as I'm concerned, just scrap it. Just scrap it. It doesn't make sense. We're playing football. It's in the name. And for those who are like, oh, it's going to become a corner, don't worry about it. If the ball leaves the ground, it's a turnover. You have to keep the ball on the ground, which will mean you have to pass the ball short. What's the difference between that and a throw? FIFA, UEFA, sort it out. It's 2018. That's it for this fine Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me. From the Bleachers with me, MKT. Remember, subscribe below. And join me tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have, of course, our Friday 5. Look out for that. That's where I give you a top 5 list of my choosing. Tomorrow will be exciting. I'm not going to tell you too much, but I'll have an awesome Friday 5 tomorrow. And my take on more Premier League news. And then, of course, we're looking towards the rugby on the weekend. the big one, Ireland, New Zealand. I'll profile that game, and then of course the Springboks and Wales as well. So for joining me today, thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, like, share. From the Bleachers with me, MKT. I will see you on the other side.